Hello, and welcome to another exciting episode of Way of the Brush with me, your host, Kris, aka Mini Wargaming Kris, aka The Name Butcher, aka Hey You, Get Off My Lawn. Way of the Brush, the most informative 120 minutes on the internet on the wargaming lifestyle. We'll talk about painting, terrain, conversions, and everything else under the sun. The show usually consists of a lot of painting talk, as well as a lot of what's under the sun. And that's basically everything that we'll talk about today. Especially if you're new and never tuned in before, welcome. Of course, always feel free to ask any kind of question, even if you think it might be something that might be relatively common, or, this is always a place of asking questions, even if you are new, especially if you're new, because I know it's hard for a lot of new people to get into this hobby and get the information they need, because oftentimes I see it so much, on forums and things like that, and people write, well, how do I paint red? And then the forum is always, do a search, do this, do that, what are you, a noob, blah, 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 and there's always so much venom on the internet, and I think it's good to provide a place that is free of that kind of mentality, where we can all pretty much share our newbiness and enjoy the painting, enjoy the hobby. That's what it's all about, is enjoying the hobby. Because, a lot of us have 9-to-5 type deals, and, you need a place to relax and chill out. And then when you want to do your hobby, and then, people are giving you static all the time, it's like, well, what's the point, right? And you don't get into the hobby. When this is a really fun hobby. This is really fun. I enjoy it. I've been doing it since I was a young fella, and yeah. And so I can see a lot of regulars already joining us today. I can see Spite You. Oh man, I almost thought there wasn't a Way of the Brush this week. Woohoo, made it. Yeah, I was a little late getting the event created on my YouTube page. I was just kind of busy all week, and I forgot about it. This is my bad. I forgot. Yeah, I didn't post it until just a while ago. So the Barfing Sheep, Spite You, Spite Me, Spite it together. Spite You together, we shall spite the world. Oof. Greenleaf Terrain, what the brush? What the brush? What the brush? Good afternoon, Adam. Jim White, hello. I am building an Imperial Guard Punisher tank. What is everyone else working on? I know a lot of shows like this, a lot of podcasts and things like that basically has people talking for hours on end. A lot of people enjoy just kind of having this in the background while they're working away. And so, yeah, what are you working on? Feel free to write in the comments here. Geeko170. Love the Gorkamorka terrain you made, Greenleaf. Yes, Greenleaf. Adam, he did a fantastic job. Fantastic. Awesome. You should, you guys, I don't even know if you guys have seen all the stuff that he made, but it's like a total boatload of terrain that he made, and the game board sections, and yeah, he went all out for this new project that Matt has in mind for the Gorkamorka. And so yeah, and even just orc terrain, I mean, it's fantastic stuff. Like, lots of little details. I love the texture. Lots of variation in the little buildings he made. He's also got all sorts of little scatter pieces go all over the place, just kind of fill up the details. And yeah, it's really good stuff. It's Adam really outdid himself this time. Spite You working on a gunner for a Dakajet bomber thingy. Kurt Krishon, I'm just in time. Hello, everyone. Hello, Kurt. William Payne, hello all. Hello. Clumsy Juggler, hello, everybody. Mick Whiskey, good morning, everyone. Leo Shi, wah, morning all. Wah morning. Happy wah morning. Do orcs just get up in the morning and just wah, I can't do a proper walk because I'll hurt myself. Geeko 170. It has been quite a while since I've had time to watch Way of the Brush. Glad to be back with it. Well, welcome. Daniel Pagey, hello everyone. The Barfing Sheep, hello all. Comments flying by again. Comments flying by. Geeko 170. Has anyone seen or been keeping up with Kickstarters? Dark Souls is close to breaking 2 million. Wow. And Blood and Plunder is close to 120,000. Wow. 2 million for a game, you know? Like, really, bravo. Like, holy man, like that's impressive. It's impressive. Now, hopefully, the game works and it's a good game and people buy it, you know. And, I mean, like, usually, like, the Kickstarters, like, it's really kind of like a pre-order. Sometimes it's, you know, you need that money in there for development costs, but sometimes, you know, especially for, like, if it's, like, you know, Mantic or, you know, it's, like, a bigger company, where this is pretty much essentially like a pre-order. And, you know, they want to see, you know, generate interest and things like that, right? Whereas some is, you know, it's development. Like the guy's just, I've got an idea and it's all written on paper and that's all I got. I need money, you know. And, you know, you should feel free to support those kind of characters like that because they might be creating the next big thing, you know. So you never know. Isaac Neal, regulators roll out. Is that like anything like Transformers roll out? Are we the Young Guns? Is that what it is? I'm too old to be a Young Gun. I'd probably break a hip if I fell off a horse or something. Leo Shi, new Orc pre-orders up today. Oric, is that how we're saying it? Oric. Thoughts? Any thoughts on him? I like that big dragon thingy. I like the look of the orcs. They look a little bit like they're in power armor, but that's okay. I kind of dig the look. It looks scary, like the big guy, like they show it. And he's got the big yellow armor and everything like that. He's pretty cool looking. George Hopkins, hello everyone. Isaac Neal, those giant boards are going to be war buggies for me. Daniel Pagey, hey Kris, in your soothing deep voice, do you have any tips for writing a dissertation? Oof. No, I don't. I'm afraid I have. I'm zero help in that regard. I used to hate writing themes and theses and stuff like that. I just dread it. Writing in general. I'm not much of a writer. You know, I've dabbled in, you know, some creative writing and stuff like that, but never any, you know, anything like that. It just, I don't know. It just scared me all the time. G2 hey monkeys. Quirk, Land Raider. Quirk's working on a Land Raider right now. He's in the other room right now, by the way. Quietly toiling away on his models. George Hopkins working on the new Chaos Termies. Dr. Santos, what's up, monkeys? Not much, Doctor. Docketer. Where are we in the comments? They keep flying by. It's almost like a song. Black Widow P61. Hello, everyone. Hello, Black Widow. Scary name. Unnerve 76, working on 3D printed parts to a box to put cards in. Whoa, what? Working on 3D printed parts to a box to put cards in. Oh, okay, very cool. Kind of like a magic thing, like, you know, for magic. And that's actually kind of cool. I never thought of that because usually you see those things like, you know, they're just as plastic cases or heck, even like a leather one would be kind of cool. You know, put all your cards in this leathery one. But then get all sweaty and stuff and might mangle up your cards. But 3D printed, that'd be cool. I assume you got some sort of crazy design or embossing or something like that going on. That's very cool. Send a picture. Ghost of Starman Deluxe. Don't have too much time today. I've got relatives around. Okay, well. You can put it on, you can load it up on your phone and put your earbud in and then just walk around. That way you have one ear available for family and another ear for listen to me jibber jabber. Tolo, oh, keep it down again, playing Division again, and it's a serious business. And hello. Tolo loves his Division. Or do you only get to play it on the weekend, dude? Which is it? Because I bought Battlefield Gothic. I have yet to play the full version of it yet. I know it just came out, but I've played through the beta, and really enjoyed it. And so I'm itching to load up the full game now, because now Eldar are part of the faction and playable now, and I've been seeing videos of people playing Eldar, and I'm just, I want to play Eldar. I want to fly around. The Black Widow 61, taking a break from sci-fi models, so painting some bolt action models. Very cool. Considered getting into bolt action. I think a historical game would be kind of fun. I say that, and I haven't finished my Covenant of Antarctica fleet yet, but hey, shut up. William Payne working on Skathath, or how do you Skathak? Skathake? How would you say that word? Skathake? Wraith Knight, anyway. That's the new Forge World one, or Forge World add-on bits. It's very, very cool. Banshun, they killed off Joseph Bugman. No, it is the end of civilization as we know it. Oh, no. Lazy Monkey, howdy y'all. Howdy. Oliver Pedersen, what is the best way to take care of one's brush? Well, with brush soap, first of all. That is one way. I have a few videos in the vault, in Mini Wargaming's vault, on this subject, taking care of your brushes. The first one being is brush soap. But also, it is in, man, I can't even speak. It is also in how you handle the brush. Working from a palette, how much paint you draw, not dipping your brush all the way into the paint pot, because then paint gets into the furrow, like where the bristles and the furrow meet. Paint gets in there, you know what I mean? You got to rinse it off, and all this. It's also all in how we handle the paintbrush, as well as that's proper care for it. Because basically, you never really want the paint getting up into that space where the bristles meet the furrow, because then the paint dries in there, and then the paint dries, and then the paint dries, you know what I mean? And then you times it over 100 times, washing the brushes and let the paint dry, and then all of a sudden your hairs just start to go, all over the place, right? So you never want that, because then you just pretty much just killed your brush. And so, yeah, you always want brush soap. That's the first and foremost point to start from. And then also in your habits in how you draw paint onto your brush and things like that. Geeko170. Can Quirk be on way of the brush? Yeah, Quirk can be Quirk can be on way of the brush. Quirk, you want to sit in? He's busy, but I mean, he's gonna come in. He's got a lot of work to do, but he's gonna come in. He's gonna play. Lazy Monkey, who smooshed him? Oh, the Bugman? Yeah. Lucian Valensour, sup Kris, sup. Leo Shi, any ideas on how to start an orc army? They were traditionally a swarm army, yet I have no idea what to do with the current new models. I have no idea either. Age of Sigmar, because, yeah, you don't really swarm with the orcs anymore because you don't have the big footprint, and you probably need a chair because you're not sitting in my lap.
Please?
Okay, so, yeah, so Leo, I have no idea, like, for Age of Sigmar, like, how to,
That's right, all your stuff.
yeah. Oh, he's almost got it. Oh, no, almost. Okay, now go.
Okay.
And there he goes.
Huzzah.
He's made it. Got this stuff here. Move some crap around.
Move over.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing. I'm moving over, food.
Hurry up.
Oh, you know what? We might as well.
I'm like...
Yeah, I know. Might as well back the camera up a bit. Back the camera way up.
Way up.
Way up. There we go.
Like, there we go.
There we go. Actually, we should probably move it just a bit that way. Eh?
Yeah, probably.
I mean, we as in you. Just give her a little tilt this way. Yeah, just use your man strength. There you go.
Like I have man strength.
There you go. Oh, there we go. There we go. There we go.
Ah.
Perfect. Look at the framing. Looks great.
It's like I do this professionally.
You know what else would have been a good idea? I just thought of it just now. Because Quirk's got work to do, right? He's trying to get his Ultramarines done. Ultramarines. And I was thinking, you know what? I should have set up the webcam, and that way we can watch you paint while we're doing the show. Because it's like whatever. Because we always ask, what is everybody working on, right? And what is Quirk working on? Then we can go to Quirk. We can click the Quirk button and
Click
see.
the quirk button.
Click the Quirk button and see what Quirk's working on. You know what? Maybe next time. Maybe we'll do that when we have little guest spots and we'll have people sit at my desk and paint away and see what they're working on. Wrong mouse.
It's like, what are you doing?
Yeah, this looks wrong.
Well.
Yeah. And
Now I'm gonna sit over, like,
yeah, sit properly.
sit like an adult.
Tolo, I clean my brushes with hydrochloric acid. He's not cleaning his brush with hydrochloric acid.
That's not gonna.
That's not even funny.
That's just mean.
That's just mean. Why would you do that to your brushes?
Could you imagine doing that and painting your model and just like watching it erode as you're painting?
The hair's just shriveling.
What is happening?
Quirk looks tiny next to Kris.
I am tiny.
He's sitting just a little further, like at a distance away.
Hang on.
Yeah, see, if he was sitting like right there.
There
See?
you go.
Now he looks a little bit bigger than me, actually. It's just the way the lens works, right? 'Cause-
Just like, whoa.
whoa. It's kind of like how they filmed The Hobbit, you know? Like the
Oh, yeah,
two
where they
different
had like everybody.
yeah, two different perspectives. So I can have my hand like this, have Quirk sitting in my hand.
Please don't.
Yeah, so Leo Shi. Quirk is here. How goes the Alpha Legion's machinations?
Slow. Very, very slow. Actually, I finished up a Thunder. Not too long ago, that flyer. The one that I showed a while ago. And was like, hey, this could fly. And you're like, this couldn't fly.
Yeah,
And
the
you wanted to
fighter
throw it.
plane?
Yeah. I finished that up, and I still have 30 tactical marines to paint. It's very slow. It's hard to paint them.
It's hard to paint.
It's factory lining, right? Like, you're just sitting there working on each one individually, so you're like, next.
Yeah.
Next. So,
Yeah, that's why my army still sits in Bear Plaza, because I get bored of next. Yeah. Mind you, though, I mean, like, I've been getting more into the airbrushing, and so I've been actually tempted to kind of go back and get like all my Dire Avengers and do like a session of like, because I think I have like 40 Dire Avengers, and I think I was thinking of just doing like a session of just doing all 40, like just sit down and just power through. But then I get cramps, and then I get no.
because you're old.
Because the whole idea just kind of chaps my ass, and I don't want to do it.
I'm done.
I'm done. Yeah, I'm done.
You're done. I agree.
Yeah. Yeah, it's by you, Forced Perspective. That's what it was called. Forced Perspective. Thank you. See, there's so many smart people in the chat. You know, you talk, and yeah. Star of Ghostman Deluxe. Quirk, are you Alfarius? I don't want to answer that. Possibly. Yes and no. Long answer, or short answer, yes. Long answer, no. Bum, 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 bum. Papa Nurgle, praises to the dark gods for the velvety voice of the dark god Kris. Thomas Rasmussen. How would you say that last name? Tom, right.
I see. Rasmussen.
Not Rasputin.
I don't want to read his comment. I just read it. He's mean.
Wow, Quirk is pale. Cover those arms. My eyes hurt. Yeah, it is. He's pretty light. I mean, I've actually haven't been out in the sun much because it was mostly winter around here. But once summer kicks in, oh yeah, I'll be, like a pair of eyeballs, and then Quirk just sitting here. Arik 13, morning all, morning. Man, we're still going through roll call here. McWhiskey, episode 116. Quirk joins Chris's chapped ass. I don't know if we're into the title yet. We might be. I don't know. This just Quirk joining us might be just the peak of this. Who knows? Oliver Pedersen, Kris, what do you think of Flames of War? I think it's pretty darn cool. The scale, it's pretty small, but allows for like some really big battles, right? Because the guys are just like the little Benums are just like this big, right? And I like the scale, and it's some of the model costs, like for the tanks and stuff like that, is a little bit pricey, versus like going into a model shop and picking up that same scale model for like way cheaper. And I found like for like some of those battalion boxes, I mean, it's like $300 some.
Yeah, but you get a ton of stuff in it.
It doesn't look like a ton of stuff though. I look at the picture, and it's like that's not, you know. But I mean, I guess we're all kind of gun shy from Games Workshop stuff, where you look at something for $300, and it's like, you know, 2 Titans. And you're like, is it worth it? I don't know, you know. So, I don't know. What do you think? Flames of War.
I haven't played it that much. I saw it a couple times. I like it. It looks cool. Josh is more into it than I am.
Yeah, Josh is all about World War II stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because it was him and I initially doing dystopian wars. Because he's got an American fleet. I've got Covenant of Antarctica. Mm-hmm. Jordan was going to join us because he's got, I think, like the French fleet or Russian. I can't remember. But anyway, yeah, we were going to get, you know, everybody playing some dystopian wars because it's something different, right? It's a ship game, you know, boats and, you know, pew pew. Pew pew. But yeah, Flames of War, I like. Bolt Action, I'm kind of partial to that one more because the scale's a little bit bigger. But, you know, again, because of the scale, you know, having a big grandiose kind of battle almost seems prohibitive. You know what I mean? It's like, imagine playing a regular game of 40K with Inquisitor scale size models. You know what I mean? Like, you have to have a whole new set of terrain. You couldn't have, like, Inquisitor scale size models. You couldn't have Titans in the game. You couldn't have Super Heavies because the dang things would be, like, this big, right? So, you couldn't play with that. That'd be no fun. Respect to you. Oh, them Nurgle bums. I actually got the model on the day of the episode, and I'm going to paint him up. Sweet. Did I miss something? No, I didn't miss anything, did I? No. Chapped ass? No, past that. Something about chapped asses, I don't know. Man, these comments are flying by. Brian, how do you say that last name? Minot? Minot?
Oh.
Will not? Have you guys played Battlefield Gothic yet on Steam? Pretty fun. I bought it. I haven't played it. I mean, I played the beta. But because now Eldar, the full game's out and Eldar are out, I really want to get into it. I won't be able to get into it today, so hopefully at some point soon I will. But I don't know if I'll do anything like making videos from it, because I don't think you guys really need to see how awkwardly I play. And you know, it's been a while since I played any games where you really had to micromanage anything. Because like I used to play the hell out of StarCraft and Dawn of War, and you know, micromanaging all day long was my gig. But nowadays, I don't know if it's arthritis kicking in or what, but yeah.
You get flustered and you T-Rex arm a little bit. You're like, what do I do?
T-Rex arm. Yeah. Oh, son of a... No, I can't do it. Oh. Come on, command shift. No. Yeah, it's... No. I've never heard that expression.
What, T-Rex arm?
Yeah, T-Rex arm? Yeah. No, I've never heard of that. It's you kids and your internet and your phrases.
I used to be with it. Then they changed what it was. Now what it is strange and confusing.
Exactly, that's it. I'm Grandpa Simpson now. I'm Grandpa Simpson. I used to get 40 rods to the hog's head, and that's the ways I likes it.
We go to town, and I hung an onion to my belt because that was the style at the time. And I had to wear a yellow onion because the white onions wasn't around because of the war.
Rick Whiskey, I played first War Machine game last night. It's my new favorite. Good. I like it. And you're getting into it, and then the rules are going to change on anybody. You know? What do you think? What do you think about the change? Because you're going to be covering War Machine.
I know, and I'm excited and hate it at the same time.
You're excited and hate it at the same time.
I'm excited because all the new rules look like they're changing everything to it. Like they've gone ahead and simplified a lot of the rules, so it's not like, okay, you have reposition, and then you have telekinesis, and you have this. It's reposition and how far you can go. It's not like 3 different rules for the same thing but different lengths.
Right.
So they've gone ahead and fixed that. They switched everything over to symbols now. So like, for example, if you have assault, it's not like the rule assault, it's a symbol for it. Those are things that I like. I don't care for the colored resin. Like all the armies are coming in different colored resin now.
Yeah, that's I mean, we'll have to see if that's really like, I mean, if that's the thing. Because I mean, I can't see them doing resin because they just released a photo of what Kris Jack was at, and it was on a styrene sprue.
Oh, you mean the Convergence Jack?
No, that wasn't Convergence. That looked like Kris. It looked like Nightmare. I thought it was a Nightmare.
Oh, okay.
But-
No, because they just released the new version of the Prime Axiom. It's like the Prime Conflict or something like that, and it's on a plastic sprue.
Oh, okay.
So, which bums me out because I have two of the old ones that are resin and pewter, and they're all pinned like crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, they don't stand up very well.
Black Widow 61 got Chris. That's why I got into bolt action. It's a 28 millimeter, so it's easy to switch from 40K. Yeah, I know that, and that's kind of why I would probably go more bolt action than Flames War. But Flames War, I mean, like the idea of Flames War, like I've seen so many beautiful tables because really what it is the tables and the terrain, and like replicating like D-Day, you know what I mean, and Omaha Beach, and having all this mass infantry and mass tanks and just this, it's like epic. Right, you're having these mass battles, and I used to play Epic lots back in the day, and used to love it. And I don't have it anymore because reasons. And yeah, bolt action. I mean, it looks like fun because it's that 40K scale. It's already a scale that we're already mostly familiar with, and even some of the terrain that we fight on, I mean, could switch over to bolt action really easily, like those plastic ruined houses and stuff.
Yep.
They almost look like European style type blown out houses and stuff like that. Yeah, Papa Nurgle. I already made that today's show. The T-Rex's micro. The T-Rex, because I never heard of that. That's funny. That made me laugh. I genuinely lulled. Dr. Santos, email time. I think it is getting closer to email time. Bob at Chris. My mini is wearing a purple coat. I put a golden rim on the coat, but the buttons need some kind of accent. What color should I go with? I would go with gold for the buttons. Yeah, I don't think you should be afraid of going with gold for the buttons. Oftentimes when you have something kind of, regal, kind of like that the accents are all gold. I mean, the gold on the cufflinks, gold on the cuff of the coat, the collar. Often, what is that called? The things that sit on the shoulders?
The things that sit on the shoulders.
No, there's a name for it.
I don't know.
And then you have like the gold aiguillettes, the ribbon or the rope that hangs around the shoulders and stuff. All that stuff, it often ends up being just kind of one color, right? So for buttons and stuff like that, yeah, I wouldn't be afraid of going gold. Or even doing like a non-metallic gold, kind of just going with yellows instead of the actual metallic paint, if that's what you're doing. But yeah. The Barfing Sheep, if Chris is getting T-Rex arms, it's good he quit smoking. That would be a challenge.
Especially when you're like, come here.
Actually, no, they only have 3 fingers or 2 fingers.
Yeah, they'd be like,
yeah. I don't know. Applettes, that's what it is. Papa Nurgle. See, man, there's so many smart people in here. I swear. Unnerved 76. War Machine has been a game of choice when I could game. I'm excited for the new rules to an extent, seeing some things getting a much needed buff, but not looking forward to getting all the cards again. Yeah, and also I wonder, will War Room update?
probably.
It better.
I hope so. Well, they were supposed to be beta testing a new War Room, right? So
Yeah, so I wonder if they're gonna make everybody kind of like give people a discount on the new version, or are they gonna give us
it's just gonna be like an update type thing where you update it.
right?
You get the new
Because when you bought War Room, like for the Ultimate, it says you just got all the cards. It didn't say you got all the cards for Mark II, right? Or did it? I don't know.
I just said you got all the faction cards, I think.
Yeah, because otherwise that program wouldn't make them any money, right? So they got to figure out a way to make people pay for it again. I imagine we're gonna end up paying for it again.
Not again.
But hopefully we get a discount if we already like owned like the Ultimate Edition before, get like a discount, half off, something like that. I don't know. Probably not.
No, they're gonna take our money.
They're gonna take our money. Tolo, War Room is updating, not free. Oh, you know. Oh, Tolo, you know, do you? All right, let's do an email. Yeah, I know, Thomas. This is from Captain Random. The title of his email is, I could not come up with a subject line, so I'll just write this random thing, which is no purpose rather than to be really long and pointless. Thank you for your patience. Loading. Captain Random. Hey there, Chris. Thank you for the tips for magnetizing the defiler. I worked away I worked out a way using the cork plate, and magnets. Cork plate. What's cork plate?
It's like a plate of cork.
Ew.
No. Oh, cork. No, I can't even say it right to make it sound not proper or not gross.
Anyway, and the magnets I bought from you guys. Really happy with them, by the way. I finished painting my Hellbrute and the mask of my Defiler and thought maybe you'd like to see the armature work. Armature work? Armature work. And I'm really happy with the result of the Hellbrute, though. Oh, and I thought, and I know the horns look bad. First attempt of wet blending. And so let's have a look. And so here's his Defiler. Very cool. Actually, it was better shot that way. Very cool. And so he's got them all magnetized up. He's all ready to go. And the next one is his Defiler. Or Defiler? Yeah,
Hellbrute.
Hellbrute. And he said it was his first attempt at wet blending. So I just want to see here. Not bad. It looks like he was fighting with the color. It looks like he was, when he was blending, the color was drying, and so then he was starting to get these little lines, like the little watermark lines. Oh, you guys can't quite see what I'm looking at here. There we go. You can kind of see like he was kind of fighting with the color a bit. Looks like he started with his base coat, and then he kind of blended. He was looking to have this section as the blend. See over here, it's not quite as obvious the blend. The blending, like even though there's like these little things going on, I think the more success is on this side. But otherwise, yeah. And of course, I mean, like, you don't always get the wet blending down the first time. I mean, it's practice. It's practice. It's practice. It's practice. And yeah, but otherwise, I mean, it's not bad. I mean, I can see there's a transition there. And yeah, I mean, like it's not horrible.
I like it.
Yeah. I mean, the red here, I think you should go another coat of red, I think. Lightly. Ever so lightly. But yeah. Very nice. Very cool. Good job. Keep going. Keep wet blending. Don't be afraid to try out new techniques, especially when, you're still relatively new into this hobby. And, you need to expand your techniques a little bit. Where are we in the comments? A cork plate.
Oh. I can't even.
What's a cork plate?
I don't know. I don't want to know. That's one thing in life that I'm just like, you know what? If I knew nothing about this, I'd be okay with it. Because it just sounds terrible.
I don't know. Yeah, what is a cork plate, though? He said a cork plate. Unless he just meant like a
cork. I think he means corkboard.
Yeah, he just meant like just a sheet of cork. Yeah, I think so too. I have no idea. I wouldn't refer to it as a plate though, but
no.
But then again, some people like to throw in those kind of terms
like,
with that, and just to mess with me,
Maybe a cardboard plate, like those ones you get at like barbecues and stuff like that you throw out after.
Oh, okay, like a disposable thing.
Yeah,
sure. Yeah, because I don't know if you've seen what the previous episode that he was talking about that, because he there's a big gap in the Defiler's torso, and he wanted to magnetize it.
Yep.
Right, and so there's nowhere really around the rim. He wanted to have that magnet sitting in the middle, and so that's probably his solution was to have that plate there, and then have the magnet, and then
that makes sense.
Yeah, so cork plate, not to be confused with cork plates.
That's really confusing. Why do you do this?
A cork plate. Keskuron? Surely cork plate is what a cannibal would serve cork on. Like, when they have like the little pig on the spit, and then he's got like the little apple in his mouth. That's just like a big cork plate. There's just a big cork apple in his mouth on a plate.
I don't like where this conversation is going at all. Because I know the next thing that's going to come up is someone's going to think we need a visual.
Well, no, I don't think we'll do that. Oh, man. Tolo, I do all my own LED. Just looking for the actual model suggestions. Huh? Oh. I want to LED a large model Resin and not too expensive. Suggestions. Resin LED up a large model. Why not just get like some Star Trek kits? That have well, some of them come with LED kits already in them. But yeah, get like the Enterprise. LED up an Enterprise. It's a fairly large kit. It's plastic, Or if you don't want to go that big, maybe even like a regular car. Do like the headlights and the interior lights and things like that. Make the car look kind of realistic, right? But you have tail lights as well. The interior lights, just light the thing right up, and then make it. The cars that have the jacks in them and everything, that have the running board lights, and then you can go crazy, even just on a car kit with just LED lights.
Oh, I just want to have like a Rhino with an underglow kit.
Yeah. No, there was one I seen a long time ago. A guy had done 1,000 Suns, and his rhinos were floating, and they had lights under them. And all his rhinos had like no tracks, but like the rhino chassis, and the rhino where the tracks would go, they were like plastic carded over, and then he had a light under them, so all his rhinos floated because like all his 1,000 Suns all had like a glow to them as well. Yeah, crap ton of work. But really cool. Where am I? Lazy Monkey. What's it to say about Quark that was the one to bring up the visual? What? What does it say about Quark that he was the one to bring up the visual? No, I brought up the visual.
Yeah, you were talking about the pig thing.
I was talking about the pig thing.
Yeah.
But a Quark plate. Because that's where you serve Quark.
How is this not dead yet? How have we not moved on to something else?
Hey man, when the monkeys grab a hold of something, they never let it go.
Oh man,
We'll go the entire 2 hours of them just running through every iteration of that joke, and eventually something sticks, like monkey poo. Let's do another email. This is from Matthew or Matt. Ni hao, Kris. I think I was saying that right. Ni hao? I'm going to pretend that's how you say that. Ni hao. Anyway, here are some pictures. Sorry for the bad light. I took of an old busted model World War II German armored train troop car that I bought at an estate sale. I converted it, really just added some transfers and glued a couple parts onto the place, into a dilapidated Imperial mining tractor that would just so happen to be armored, because everything is armored in 40K. Well, I think so. Now, time for the real question. Do you like Peeps? The little puffed sugar animals? Do I like Peeps? The little puffed sugar animals?
Do you know what a peep is?
No, I don't know what a peep is.
How do you not know what a peep is?
Hey, man, I live under a rock. What do you expect? I go to work, I paint, I go home, I go to work, paint, go home.
And somewhere in between all that, you hit me occasionally.
And occasionally lay a beating on Quark.
Peeps. Those.
Peeps. Those are peeps?
Yeah, they're like little edible things.
It looks like Care Bear poo. Anyway, so here is the armored car. Very cool. I like it. You know what? And that's the fun thing about like a lot of World War II stuff is that you slap that Imperial Eagle on anything and immediately it looks 40K. You throw any like those 40K transfers and stuff onto it and it's like immediately it's 40K. I kind of like this. This is cool. The weathering on it's pretty cool too. It's very subtle, but I like it. He might be a subtle kind of guy. Oh, I can see a pack of peeps in the background there. A pack of peeps.
I'm going to go to Hasty and buy a pack of peeps.
Do they sell those here?
I almost want to go check.
Because I thought it was maybe some crazy, Asian or European food or something. I don't know. No.
They're like pure sugar.
Oh, then I'm going to go into a diabetic coma.
Like marshmallow, sugar, Care Bear poop.
Oh, that actually rides on rails. So you can put this on like a real railroad kit. That's cool. Is it Imperial Guard guys or Mechanicus? Looks like Mechanicus.
Yeah, that's Mechanicus.
That's pretty big. I didn't think it was going to be that big. considering that it had the little rails. But it's probably a different scale, like what I'm thinking of, like for railroads. It's probably like a bigger scale. Was that it? No, that wasn't it. Was it? That was it. Son of a beehive. Anyway, very, very cool. I think because if this is going to go fit into your Mechanicus army, I think you should throw some Mechanicus icons onto it and stuff. But very, very cool. I like it. I like to see where you're going with that. Is that going to be like just something going regular for the table, or are you going to actually create like a railroad type scenario where they've got to get the package to whatever, and people are trying to Shanghai them. Okay, I normally don't do this, but he just sent this in, and I'm just gonna show you guys real quick. Who was it that was talking about the 3D printing? I know I have his name here. Unnerve? Anyway. Here, real quickly here, is the 3D printed card box that he was talking about earlier in the show. And so he's got this little 3D printed parts, and he's got the embossed details on it, I assume. Is it just the one picture? Oh, it's just the one picture. I thought we were going to get like the full thing going here, where we're going to have a whole... Do you have the 3D printer? Oh, that's cool.
It's awesome.
Yeah. How long does it take something like that to print out? How long? That's what I'm curious about. He says, half of the top outside shell. The idea is to have the box so that it can hold any cards like Magic the Gathering, but also top loaders. But also top loaders. That way I have a box either for playing card games or take them with me and have all the cards I need for War Machine. Once I have it all printed and cleaned up, I can look at a smooth on or products similar to make molds and cast copies. Unnerve 76. Enjoy the show when I catch it, and thank you for taking the time to do it. Yeah, so I just wanted to show that off real quick because we were just talking about that at the beginning of the show, that he was 3D printing up a box for cards, and I think that's right on. That's very cool. That's very cool. And so he's gonna cast those up, and he's gonna make $1 million. And we'll all say, well, we saw it all here first, people. We saw it here first. Because we're lucky like that. So where are we in these comments here? Ghost of Starman Deluxe. If you like it, then you gotta put a Aquila on it. Is that like the Beyonce song? Is that Beyonce?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ah, I knew that. In your face. Despite you, make Kris eat some peeps. Make Kris eat some peeps. My God.
Phrasing? Is phrasing not a thing anymore?
It's all about context, kids. It's all about context. Oh my God. Seriously though, what peeps? Like,
I will seriously just go to Hasty and like see if they have a box and get them for you. And you can have one.
Oh my God. All right, just one. Go.
Right.
Go. Run. Quick. Fast like a bunny.
I don't do fast.
You come on, you're pale like a bunny.
Stealing one of these.
Hi. Anyway. All right. So, where are we here? Getting a little crowded here in my space. Oh, I need a sip of coffee. That's what I need. Tyler Bortel. Hey, Kris. Sorry I'm late. Have you done any emails? Yes, I've done a few emails, but nothing from you, Tyler, I don't believe. I think you did have one sent in, though. Papa Nurgle, wait, the brush episode 116. Make him eat the peeps. Make him eat the peeps. George Hopkins. Kris just switched over to Vallejo Game Color line from GW. Any tips? Be aware that the flow of the paint is not like GW paint. That just the aspects of controlling it are a little bit different. It's more like if you got into the habit of thinning down your GW paints and start painting with it. Vallejo paints, even though they have like lots of thinners for them, it doesn't really break down that pigment. For the bottles, I definitely would recommend getting agitators for them because Vallejo paints, the pigment tends to gather at the bottom fairly quickly, so you kind of have to always keep agitating these things every once in a while. It seems like once a week you should agitate your Vallejo paints because they'll just, they'll gather up and gunk up on you. Unlike Citadel paints. And I'll bet you that's why Citadel paints are thicker, is because they're designed to sit on the shelf longer. That's why the paint is just like, the pigment won't move, right? Because the acrylic binder is really, really thick, and it doesn't allow the pigment to, separate too quickly. Versus other companies where they go with a thinner binder, and the pigment separates and gathers at the bottom, right? So, yeah, I bet you that's why they do it. The Barfing Sheep. Roasted peeps on a quirk plate. Roasted peeps on a quirk plate. Thomas, did Quirk go get a tan? Yeah, he's got to be careful because the sun's coming out now and he's going to burst into flames. He's so pale. He's so white that he's almost clear. Like, did anybody ever see what was it, Last Starfighter? And remember when he had the replicant, copying the young guy, and he's in the bed, and then the sheet lifts over, and he's like glowing, and he's got, like, you see all the little techno doodads, but like his skin is all just clear, and he's all whoa, 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 and he rolls over and then puts the sheet back over, and he's like, he's transforming into Alex. Yeah, that's the name, Alex. Anyway. Oh man, oh man. Nicholas Allen, hello, Quirk and Kris. Working on a Leviathan Dreadnought for my Wordbearers army. Very cool. Those Leviathan dreadnoughts. Are they supposed to be like how we get to, because like regular 40k, the dreadnoughts are kind of big and boxy, right? Are the Leviathans supposed to be like that transitional phase from the Contemptor, which is the classic dreadnought, right, to the big boxy type dreadnought? And is the Leviathan like that progression to that point in 40k why they have all the big boxy dreadnoughts? Anyway, because I don't know, because the silhouettes of them look similar to like a regular 40k, except that the guys are huge, right? So I don't know. It's just one of those little thoughts I had. Ghost of Starman Deluxe. Quirk must run off back to his Ultra Smurfs. No, Quirk ran to the store to see if there was peeps. And to answer the previous email there, no, I'd never had peeps before, and I don't know. I imagine they're just like marshmallow, right? They're just they look like marshmallow, and they just blump and eat them, right? Lazy Monkey at Kris. Hey, airbrush paint spray tan for Quirk. Yeah, spray tan. That would be funny. You know what? That would actually make a good Life of a Wargamer type episode, where basically all of us gather the airbrushes and we all put together a spray tan booth for Quirk.
Really?
Yeah. they said it, not me, dude. A bunch of them. Lazy Monkey says get airbrush paints and spray tan for Quirk.
I ain't doing no spray tan. I didn't have any.
No, eh? Oh.
I'm gonna go back to work.
You're going back to work? Okay.
Back to work.
All right. Quirk's not coming back because he's got a lot of work to do. He was serious about the whole. He's got a ton of work to do, and yeah. So let me see if I can fix this camera here. There we go. All right. So now it's just back to you and me. He doesn't want to come back because he doesn't want to talk about spray tans. That's what it is. The Barfing Sheep. Just take some Reichland flesh shade on Quirk's pallid witch flesh. That can help. Oh, man. Nicholas Allen. I don't think so. It says to one point that the Leviathan was a high-tech project and the Emperor rumored to help with the designs. Also, shoebox dreads are in the Horus Heresy. The shoebox dreads are in the Horus. Are they? Okay. Yeah. I don't know. It's because I know, like, I realized it was a bit of stretch because, I mean, like, the Leviathans, yeah, are just so much bigger, than, the regular kind of box kind of dreadnoughts, right? But I mean, like, anybody who has any of the Rogue Trader era, like the legit old models of the Contemptor and everything like that, like those dreadnoughts weren't that big either. And then the Forge World makes a Contemptor, and it's like this big, monstrous type of dreadnought. And yeah, so just an idea. I was just seeing the parallels, and so, yeah. Papa Nurgle, Sexy Times with Kris one-on-one. Afraid of Jersey. Huh? He's afraid of spray tanning. Quirk, are you afraid of spray tanning? No, he's not answering. I think everybody hurt his feelings with the whole spray tanning thing. Let's do an email because we got a few of them to go through. This is from Jonathan. Hey, Kris. I wanted to ask what the color scheme for my Leviathan. Oh, talk about Leviathan Dreadnought. For my Leviathan Dreadnought that would go with my Space Marine chapter. They are pretty old by my standards, but I intend to keep adding to the force. I included some pics of the Dreadnought as well as a few Marines, a Tyranid conversion I did recently, as yet unpainted, and a weird chest piece from the Ravener kit that seems to have partially melted. Feel free to save this for next week's Way the Brush. Thanks. GOSD774. Jeez, that's quite the name. Barber Sheep scared him off. Tell Quirk I feel bad. The guys feel bad, Quirk. They scared. Anyway. Yeah, so let's have a look at Leviathan. This one. Oops, not that one. There we go. No, actually, I better go back to this one. Very cool. And you want to know what kind of colors you should go for? I mean, I assume with that kind of question, you're just starting your Space Marine. Oh no, here's your Space Marines. They look like they got black with like bronze or gold trim with gray helmets and gray hands. Interesting. Whoa. Ravener conversion. Big slimy body. Now something like this, did you run a wire through it and then build your sculpture around it, or did you just run the green stuff and then just kind of coil it and just have at it? I don't know. Partially melted bit. What are you smiling about?
I totally forgot to say happy birthday.
Happy birthday. To who? Me? It's not my birthday. Everybody knows when my birthday is. Can't fool me or them. Anyway, okay, so we gotta go back to the email because I'm sure I missed something here. You wanted to ask what a color scheme for his Leviathan Dreadnought would go with the Space Marine chatter. Okay, so I think really because of what it look okay, like how this looks to me is you got these black bodies with the gold or brass trims with the gray helmets. And so if we're talking for your Leviathan, I mean, you can easily do that here. I mean, you have the gold head, or the gold head, gray head, predominantly black, but like, like these little details where like these little, I don't know if those are missile launchers or grenades or something, I don't know. Or if they're just big buckles, I don't know. But anyway, and where you have like any kind of trim or anything like that, you can have it as brass or gold. Yeah, and then just fill in the rest of the metal parts. You can use like a darker metal, You can, instead of going with a bright silver or anything like that, just use the darker metal. You can go with like you could even mix black into lead belcher and use that as your base, and then just give it a slight edge highlight, just so that the metal feels very dark. You know, your leg plates here, like your knee pads. You know, your knee pads could be brass or copper. You know, the framing around his head. You know, things like that. Just like picking out just like odd little details here and there, but keeping it predominantly black, and then having that gray head in there. At least that's the way I'd go if I was going to keep with the color scheme that I think you've got established there, and if I'm interpreting that color scheme correctly. But yeah, so hopefully, Jonathan, that helps. And send in pictures when you start working on them. Back to the comments. Thomas, Papa, birthday? No birthday. Cork is just trying to be funny because they're pulling that joke on Steve. And so now he thinks that he can get me, but he's not. Because, like I said, everybody knows my birthday because you just go on my Facebook and you'll see when my birthday is. I don't hide it. So, anyway, Ghost of the Starman Deluxe. The pics are a bit crap. Sorry. Gold trim, some gray, some purple. Oh, I didn't even see any purple in there. Also, no wire. Okay. Waiting for the green stuff to dry was a nightmare. Yeah, you should have started with an armature of wire and had the miniature glued to it, or even just had the armature of wire and knew where you're going to glue it, and then built up your scales like that. And that way you would have, probably saved yourself a headache of trying to keep that portion that was going upwards from falling over and things like that. And so, but I mean, you did it once. I don't know if you're going to keep, doing a whole bunch more, but, in the future, yeah, it's something to be mindful of. Spite you, Kris, when is your birthday? My birthday's not until December. Leo Shi, I'm back, monkeys. Welcome. Thomas, the Leviathan's so awesome. Need one for my flesh terrors. I like them. They look like big badass dreadnoughts, It's almost like the Hulkbuster suit. That's what it's like. It's like a Contemptor inside a Hulkbuster suit. But I guess it gets us back to our, Space Marines within a Space Marine type thing. Like the Centurions. It's a Space Marine within a Space Marine. It's a suit within a suit within a suit. Mauricio Tamarel. Facebook is Twitter for mums. Well, yeah, okay. I guess I have no idea. Sure, okay. But with Facebook, I mean, most of the time, yeah, I'm just keeping up with family stuff in Facebook. So, yeah, that doesn't make me a mom, does it? Nicholas Allen, the base that the Leviathan is on makes it look like he's surfing. Yeah, that roundish kind of base like that, yeah. That isn't the base that comes with it, is it? I figured they would have come with a big round base, no? I don't know. Jim White, December 25th, Jim typed, trying to be funny. December 25th, my birthday? No, December 8th. The 8th of December. The day after Pearl Harbor. There you go. How's that for any of you guys to easily remember? Despite you. So then what is your sign? Too lazy to look it up. My sign? What are we, dating? My sign is Sagittarius. And in the Chinese calendar, I was born in the year of the rabbit. So, there. Anything else, people? Bob. Haha, said Bob, trying to be polite. What, is everybody like narrating their own things here, or? I don't know what the hell's going on around here. Let's do another email just because. This is from Michael. Hey Kris, I'd like to say thank you. I really appreciate what you do on Way of the Brush series. I really enjoy your natural style. Very few people are real these days, and I'm grateful to have found someone who subtly puts ego to the side and talks directly to the soul. Keep up the good work, my friend. X. Well, thank you. That's quite a compliment. And I do try to keep it real, as most do. And, that's all you can do, right? Oh, you guys watching me as I'm changing the emails around? Okay, well, let's do another email then, since we're already looking at another one. This is from Jonathan. Morning, afternoon, and evening, depending on when you read this. Afternoon. I have just ordered the Forge World Fulgrim model, and now bricking it about, assembling and painting it. And now bricking? Is that an expression? Bricking? He's bricking it? Anyway, this will be the first resin model I've ever worked with. I class myself as an average painter and hope I can do it justice when painting. Do you have any tips or advice when working and painting resin, as I do not want to end up with an expensive block of poorly assembled and horribly painted resin? Thanks in advance. Dice luck to you, Jonathan. Alright, so working with Forge World resin. Sometimes you get it right out of the package and there's some warped parts. Really easy to fix. Warm water, bend apart, and then what I'll do is real quickly I'll switch to cold water and then shock that piece back straight and then leave it. After you have separated parts, cleaned up edges, cleaned up mold lines, anything like that, like basically after you've cleaned up the parts, put the little stopper in your sink or get a little bowl ready or something like that with a little bit of detergent and water, lukewarm water, not warm water, but fairly cool, I suppose. And put all those parts in there and get an old toothbrush and then give the parts a good scrub, to clean any mold release that could potentially still be on the models. And also because when you're handling the model as you were cleaning, you're shaving the lines off and, filing and then things like that, the oils from your fingers get on that. And so put it in a bath, give it a scrub with the old toothbrush, and just to make sure that you've thoroughly cleaned the parts, and then allow them to dry on a paper towel, what have you, and let them dry. And then when it comes to gluing, glue your parts together. Use super glue. Don't try and use plastic glue or anything like that. Use super glue. Oftentimes you will have to pin parts together with resin kits, so be prepared for that. You might have to get your pin vise out with a little bit of brass rod and a drill bit of equal size, and just drill in, like for example, like a Space Marine shoulder pad goes into the body. Just drill it in, put the rod in, snip it, leave it like a millimeter or so, drill a millimeter into the other part, and bang, and then you have a nice secure attachment. Really, a lot of times with resin kits, you do have to go about that much steps. Just nature of the beast kind of thing. So there is often more work involved with resin kits than there are plastic kits. But again, nature of the beast, and it's part of the hobby. And don't be afraid, to venture off into these kits like that. Just know that there are different steps and some similar steps, I suppose, that we're working with regular kits. But otherwise, there are some different things. Again, like I said, making sure that you are using super glue to attach the parts. Oftentimes, if I'm not going to pin parts together and I'm just going to join them together, just because I figure there's no weight on them, and like it's kind of like there's just not going to be any weight on it, and it's a part that can kind of hang out. Oftentimes, I will score the sections that are going to be glued together, because that's very important. I even do that for plastic kits as well. I will score where the glue will be joining them together. It gives you a far stronger bond, especially when using super glue. If you're using just flat resin, right, 2 flat pieces, gluing them together, it's just this amount of surface that those 2 parts have to join, and that's all that's going to be for strength. But when you score the surface, now what I'm talking about scoring is I take my razor blade and I scratch, like crosshatch, I'm going to draw a tic-tac-toe type pattern on the thing. I'm drawing lines this way, and then I'm drawing lines this way. Not cutting very deep, but enough that, there is a scored line there, and so the resin is being pulled away as I'm working on it, right? Give it a quick brush to just pull that loose material away, and then you're left with these deeper lines. And what that ends up doing is creating more surface for the glue to adhere to. So even though, like, if you didn't unglued surface stuff, you can kind of just snap them and pull them apart. But when they're scored, it's far more difficult because, again, there's more surface there. I can't remember what the heck it's called, but what the formula is called. It's the same. It's the same reason why like heat sinks, like on computers and stuff like that. Like it's a series of plates that are all kind of touched together because there's more surface to cool. It's that one piece of metal, but it has more surface to it. And that's the same thing when we're gluing parts together. We want to create more surface so that you get a stronger bond. And imagine, okay, if it was just these two parts like that, but with scoring, it's more like a surface, like that much bigger, right? So, yeah. Hopefully, that kind of makes sense. When you're painting it, you can paint it just like you do your normal models, as long as, like I said, you've cleaned the model and made sure that there was no mold release. Don't be afraid if any of the parts are defective or have this huge air bubble in them, because sometimes the models will have air bubbles in them. It's just a process of resin casting, and sometimes there are little defects like that, like little air bubbles and stuff. I know people freaked out when Fine Cast came out and they had tiny little air bubbles. I think it was just because people weren't used to using or working with resin kits. And so these people were freaking out because, plastic, it's very rare you get any of these kind of anomalies in them. But with resin casting, it's quite common. And Forge World is the same thing. Forge World's gotten really good at the quality control, but again, sometimes things slip through. And so, yeah. I can't think of any other things they're working on, because when you get to the painting of resin, it's the same process. Lay a primer, not too heavy, and begin painting. And build your colors up, and do what you got to do, right? Do what you already know what to do. But be aware that resin kits, there's a little bit more work involved when working with resin, mainly because it's not such an industrialized type of process like styrene plastic is. Like they have the aluminum molds, and it's an injection mold, and and it's all done by machines and stuff like that. And styrene plastic is much more resistant to I don't want to say the elements, but like resin models, if you left that in a hot car, it would warp. Versus the plastic model, which is not quite as likely to warp. It would still have to reach a higher temperature, I think, to begin warping. So, yeah. So hopefully, Jonathan, that answers your question. And again, if you have any other questions, feel free to send me an email. Comments. Ben Ossick had Kris. I was just looking at the kits from the Imperial Knights and Renegade, or Imperial Knights Renegade, that new game there, and they forgot to remove a mold line in the back of the Chaos Knight chainsword. Shame on them. Well, even professionals make mistakes, man. You want to have so much time, and can you imagine the kind of deadlines that a lot of those heavy metal painters they probably have to work under? And I heard that heavy metal painters, that it's not like a high-paying job either. And here they are painting those models for, the magazine and stuff like that. That's a big selling point, right? These guys they're getting paid peanuts to do it. And, it's when you're looking at the magazine, you're like, wow, look at the paint jobs on those models. And meanwhile, it's painted by a guy who might not have that much experience painting, and is not getting paid that well. And so. Again, it's the artist getting pooped on syndrome of the world that we live in these days. Everybody always seems to take advantage of the artistic. Saba Cerez. Oh, I'm on my way home and just getting used to the different time zone. Oh, okay. Saba. Russ Evans. The live show is pretty awesome. Well, thank you. Despite you, live show is amazing. Thank you. Nothing else like it on YouTube. No. Again, it's not just a tagline at the beginning of the show. This is the most informative and entertaining 120 minutes on the internet on the wargaming lifestyle. It's not just a tagline I made up. Really, who else? Is doing and is willing to make fun of themselves and put themselves in harm's way. And I'm sure there's probably 100 people. I don't know. I for a while ago when we started doing the live shows, there was a whole bunch of us. WGC, they were doing a whole bunch of live shows. a whole bunch of people were doing live shows, and it was really, really fun. You know, like having all these kind of live shows that were on, and we had, and you know, and I really wish, you know, I really wish that those, like all those people, could have kept it up, and you know, because I mean, heck, I mean, Matt still does his sit and talk. Well, his sit and talk was kind of like a live thing. His sit and talk was a live, or not live, a recorded session that he was just kind of walking. He was doing his walks in the morning, and he was recording himself and answering questions and things like that. And then when we started doing live shows, then he started doing it live. But then he stopped doing it live and started, you know, pre-recording them. And then he's pretty much just pre-recording now. But now he's got all of us doing the show as well, which is fine as well, you know. But you know, how it's evolved, right? I mean, Wave the Brush, this has been pretty much this format that I've gone has changed a little bit, but it's, you know, pretty much the same. It's just a whole lot of answering your questions and goofing off, really, is what this is all about. Dave's show, Shrine of Chaos, you know, I mean, Dave hasn't done it in a while. I don't know if he's going to be doing any more. And, you know, again, like, it's just, this is the only live show, I think, from that iteration of when we initially had so many people who, you know, wanted to do this live. And, you know, I mean, like, there's lots of opportunities to do this stuff live together. And, you know, like, I don't know. It's a shame. It's just a shame. Anyway, where am I? Ben Osick, if you're lucky, the mold bubbles might force you to make some really cool conversions. Yeah, sure. Danish artist, I restarted using plastic cement for gluing plastic minis together. Yes, definitely. Plastic cement for styrene plastic models, 100% you should be using that all the time, because you're going to get a far stronger bond with the plastic cement. And even, and like I mentioned before about the scoring of the parts, even those plastic kits, I give a couple lines on it and then apply the cement and bang, put them together. And almost immediately you'll see the parts melt and bond. And so, you know, again, it's more surface area. So it's, you know, yeah. The Barfing Sheep, I'd rather paint for mini wargaming. Papa Nurgle agrees with that, I guess. Bob, do I smell sarcasm? Like, see, I don't paint for mini wargaming. I mean, I paint for mini wargaming, but I make videos about painting for mini wargaming. Whereas Lee is our in-house painter. He paints for mini wargaming, so he's doing like all our armies and doing terrain, doing, you know, special projects and stuff like that. And so he literally is painting for mini wargaming, but he doesn't make any videos. But he could easily make a bunch of videos. You know, I mean, I thought it'd be a fantastic idea, like, because he does a ton of conversions and he's a really good conversion kind of guy. And man, I mean, if we filmed him doing his conversions and what his process is for it and things like that, man, I'm sure that's tons of people would learn from that, because that would be an awesome program. I think it's just Lee doing conversions and, you know, stuff like that, because it would be awesome. Because he does really good conversions, not just for what he's done for us already, but like his own personal stuff. Like, I've seen his own personal projects that he's done, and like they're really, really good. And yeah, it'd be awesome if he did a show, you know, or just did videos every once in a while, just conversions that he was working on. And, you know, he doesn't have to paint them. He really doesn't even have to narrate them. He just kind of just show you what he did, you know. But anyway. Ben Osick, I miss Shrine of Chaos. Okay. Nicholas Allen, time for another email? Yeah, I think it's time for another email. Spike to you. I like Uncle Adam and Dr. Faust. Yeah, I like Dr. Faust and Uncle Adam. Yeah, Adam's a good guy. The dry wit on Adam is funny. And Dr. Faust, yeah, like I used to watch his channel lots back in the day. And Dr. Faust, I mean, his painting, I like his channel because he goes all over the place. You know what I mean? Like, he was recently doing the Bandai ATST model, and I was watching that. It was really good. And he was also, I think he was doing like a Robotech model, I think, not too long ago. And so I like how he kind of just ventures all over the place, and that's really awesome. Something that I don't get to do too often. A lot of times my my models that I'm working on are very GW centric, just because, it's what's popular, really, is what it is. And yeah, so that's why really, I guess why you guys you see a lot of GW type stuff in the videos, is because, again, it's what's popular. Bum, 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 bum. Nicholas Allen. Dave seems to have dropped off the face of the earth. What happened to him? Despite you, he's making movies now. Yeah, a lot of his energy is gone towards his acting and, short film and stuff like that. And so, I mean, he was just filming a Bat Rep just the other day. But, I mean, yeah, it's... It seems like that's where most of his energy is going towards, which is fine. The Barfing Sheep, go super for resin. Go super for resin? Danish artist, so super glue for resin or something else? No, super glue, you almost always want to go with super glue for resin. Unless you're going to go with, man, I don't even know, like you can go with a thinner resin. Like there's like 2-part epoxy. Like it's liquidy, and you can use it like a glue, but it takes for hours to set. So I mean, like, it's not really that efficient. But I mean, when it does cure, it's solid. So I mean, it's an idea versus super glue, where super glue really isn't that solid, and super glue, less is more. You don't need a whole lot of super glue on a join to bind it and make it strong. And in fact, you can actually make a weaker bond by having too much glue in the area. So, something to be mindful of. There's a careful little balance of how much super glue should be laid out. And I mean, like for like a resin model, I can't, like say for example, if I was putting together a super heavy tank, I would lay just tiny little drops, about the size of a small pea or something like that. And just tiny little drops, and allow those to grab hold onto the model and secure them together. I wouldn't like run a whole like smear down the line. Of course, there's some really good ones, super glues like Zapagap. Zapagap is a really good one because Zapagap, Zapagap. That's just fun to say. It doesn't shrink when it dries, and it can fill in those gaps. So say, for example, you have too much glue, and you just quickly wipe the excess away, it fills that gap in for you. And so, it kind of kills 2 birds with 1 stone kind of thing, right? Which is a good one. Paul0132. Hey, Kris, what would you suggest for a black jewel effect? For a black jewel effect, that's kind of tough. Because a black jewel, you can imagine, is like obsidian, right? You imagine this dark black gem. You could paint it sort of like non-metallic metal, but because basically the theory behind it is the facets of the gem. You're gonna have the darkest color at the top, only going to the lightest color, okay, and then you're gonna edge it, and then you're gonna give it that appearance of like kind of non-metallic metal. And it's a common thing we do these days in painting, and it's it's just the theory behind it is very common, but the execution does require a bit of playing around, because sometimes you gotta like have more brighter color at the top, more or at the bottom, and just depending on where the sky is, and anyway, what do you highlight it with? Do you highlight it in grays? I think grays would be very boring. I think you should do it in more like turquoise, Sotek green, or Incubi darkness. You could also go in browns and reds, just very hints of browns and reds at the edges. Even browns and yellows, going for almost a deep amber kind of look. Just the very subtle edging of yellows, just a bit. Like going from black to just a very hint of brown to yellow, just a very small spectrum of it at the ends. Could give you that impression that it's such a dark mineral that is black, but if you really look at it, it's at its outer edges, like a lot of gemstones that look black. If you ever look at gemstones that are purely black, or obsidian, you'll see it where it gets thinner, where more light can pass through. You'll see that there's different colors there, and so yeah, and oftentimes there are browns, reds, blues, things like that. So Something to consider, I think. Nicholas Allen, epoxy for resin titans is really the only time you'd use epoxy. Well, I would pin them. And then possibly epoxy them. Yeah, definitely. Especially for like, say for example, like the Reaver Titan at his pelvis, right? Because that's really where the center of gravity and all the weight is going to be, right? Because the carapace and all that junk is going to be sitting there, and so it's all going to be sitting at that one convergence point and then come down. And so yeah, definitely, I would recommend using epoxy resin like that just to fill in those gaps and create that bond in there, because nothing else is going to get you any stronger bond than that. You could also use regular green stuff as well as the bonding agent as well. Pretty much do the same thing, just going to be a lump of green stuff rather than this nice clear resin that you could use, you know. Stephen Gallod. Hi, I'm at work and can use airbrush or spray to prime my models right now. I have a Superface primer, Vallejo, surface primer. I can use that with a brush. And should you use ceramic white to prime? Ceramic white to prime? No, it's not really that. It's not really designed. You can prime with any color you like, right out of the bottle. But primer has a specific quality to it that it basically creates a texture on a surface, and that's what, from a primer, that's all you're looking for, is the creation of that slight surface that paint can adhere to, right? Because, like, for example, canvas. Okay? A lot of artists paint on canvas. Canvas has got a great texture on it all on its own, but we still have to prime canvas because canvas has qualities in it that just, it does not absorb paint, or it would become too absorbent of paint. And so primer gives you that barrier. Plastic models, if you're bare plastic and you try to run paint over it, right, it bubbles up and, you know, it doesn't sit on a model surface properly, versus when you put the primer down, then and it covers right over it, just like paper or, you know, a proper surface. So yeah, you're better off just using regular primer. Don't over prime. If you can still see some, like, you know, plastic or metal in the crevices, that's fine, you know, because it's better to under prime than it is over prime. Because if you've over primed, then you pretty much have to strip the model and start again. Because if you over prime, you have too much primer sitting there, and it'll act like, if you've ever seen like watercolor on like paper, how you can just touch it and it goes and it just kind of bleeds everywhere. That's what it'll do. If you've over primed a model, the paint will just go everywhere on the model surface. So again, something to consider, definitely. But using ceramic white to prime, you can, but it's not really what it was made for. Oh, excuse me. Mad Cow Crazy. What about gluing using UV light curing resin? They now sell in small pens, like $15. You know what? I've been curious about that, and I've been meaning to pick myself up one of those little things. I see them like right at the like in Walmart. I see them right in the as you head out the cashiers, so you can pick up one of those little things. And I was thinking about picking one up, give it a shot. And you know what, Mad Cow, if you pick one up before me, send me an email on how it worked out for you. Any cautions or anything like that, because definitely I've been meaning to pick one up. I just haven't gotten around to it. I haven't had any big kits to build, but I was eyeballing something on eBay the other day, and I was hemming and hawing. I don't know, because basically I was thinking of picking up either a Scorpion or a Revenant Titan. The Scorpion I would like, the newer, like the Type 2 Scorpion, but I definitely would like to get a Revenant Titan, just because, you know, I like the Titans. And I also still like to get a Phantom Titan as well, like the newer Forge World one. Just because, why not? And that way, anybody wants to challenge me to a Apocalypse game, you know, you're completely boned. You're just going to be completely boned. It's like, come on, bring it. Bring it. Bring it. Bring it. David Taylor, Kris, got any tips for reposing models? That's a tough one, because I mean, if you're dealing with plastic, then you pretty much, and you've already, say, glued the model, or you're going to just assemble the model and repose things, because it's not as easy as, say, like heating up a point and bending it. Like resin, you can kind of get away with doing that sometimes, but again, you pretty much... Now, it's like, for example, okay, last thing I was reposing was a Tau suit, was a Tau battle suit, where the legs, they're pretty much standing straight, right? But I wanted to put a bend in it. So you pretty much have to cut and destroy everything in that area, clean it up, glue it into place, and then kind of sculpt some of those lost details that you might have destroyed in the cutting process. So plastic and resin, yeah, you pretty much have to like kind of cut apart. Now, I know sometimes back in the day, when they wanted to reposition, say, like a Space Marine arm, you would have two of the same kind of arm, and you would cut just below the point of where you want the connection, and the other arm you would cut just above the point of connection, so that you had that preserved detail, and then the two parts would go together and fit together well, rather than trying to cut that one arm in middle and repose it, because there is a loss of material when you cut. That's the whole point, is that you still have you still have all your material there, rather than cutting with the saw or whatever, losing that small amount of material, gluing together, and then finding that the arm is like sitting up more, and stuff like that. And so, yeah, usually it involves a lot of cutting. I really wouldn't try and heat things up and rebending them or anything like that. I just really wouldn't go about it that way. It's usually a lot of cutting and reposing and stuff like that. And of course, there's a lot of pinning is involved as well. So don't be afraid to get out your pin vise. Emails for the email god. Yes, we will do an email. Mad Cow Crazy. Kris, scroll up to my super hydrophobic questions and airbrushing. Curious what you know about it. Oh, wrong mouse. All right. Mad Cow Crazy, you can spray clothes and shoes with this liquid and just runs off them. Yeah, because it's basically these little nanite structures that are like little pins, and it just keeps it. Yeah, it makes this hydrophobic space. And what do you think of making like a palette for your paints? Yeah, it's definitely an option. Was just runs off them. Wouldn't that make the dry tip on an airbrush impossible, for instance? Yes and no. Because that surface is so small, right? Whereas, like, I seen that one with the demonstration where they spray it onto the surface, and you can see the water never collects on the surface, or they leave a square empty, and the water collects there. When I first saw that, I thought, yeah, that'd be awesome for like a paint palette, and that way your colors can just sit there, and it'd be easy to clean off your palette surface. Now, mind you, it only lasts us so long because, again, that nanite structure that it creates. It only lasts so long. Apparently, they're working on a more permanent type of structure where it's not a spray; it's actually the like a tabletop is made with that surface already built onto it. Where because essentially it makes like for germ-free surfaces, because basically these little nanite structures are so small that the germ comes over and is basically punctured onto these nanite spikes, and that's what this entire table surface is. It's just little nanite spikes. It's the whole bed of nails kind of thing, right? It's like the bed of nails, and it's that whole principle. Anyway, so Mad Cow Crazy, using it for dry tip, just use just use the lube. Just use the lube, or the other one is here people, I do have lube. Anyway, or use retardant in the paint. Now, you might be thinking, well, why would I want to use retardant in my paint? It's going to take my paint longer to dry. Yes, but you have a little bit more working time. Now with the retardants in the airbrush, I mean, the paint doesn't stay as long as like when we're brushing the paint. Now, if you build up lots of paint in the area, then yeah, it will it will stay wet longer. But if you're putting down small layers and you're just building up a gradient or whatever, then yeah, you can have a little bit of retardant in your paint mixture, and it'll keep that needle dry because the paint's not going to build up on the end. So yeah, but otherwise, dry tip, I mean, it's something that we're going to get used to. I mean, because there's like some things you can't add the retardant to, like for example, ghost tints. You can't add retardant to that. And ghost tints, they dry tips fast. It gets dry on the tip really, really fast. And even the Forge World one, the Forge World clear colors, they get dry really fast as well. Bum, 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 bum. Coffee for the coffee god? Yes, I think coffee for the coffee god. Getting out of breath here. Excuse me. All right. Where are we? Spite You, episode 116. Use the lube. Lube for the lube god and Kris. Jim White, are you sure it isn't lotion? Man, there's so many smart people in this. Who said the monkeys were not smart? Who said that? Nobody. Email Jonathan. Man, there's a lot of Jonathans. Or did I already do this question? Son of a beehive, I did this question already. Okay, hold on. That was Jonathan. This one. There we go. Okay, this email. This is from Christopher from Germany. Hey, Kris. First off, I'm not even sure if this will reach you at all, but it does. But if it does, and if you would be so kind to answer, it would be really appreciated. So here is my dilemma. I painted up my EC the same way as your tutorial. EC, I don't know what the EC is. I don't know what an EC is. Emperor's Chiller? Yes, Emperor's Chiller. Yeah, that's what we talk about, Emperor's Chiller. Because I want to play with them a lot, and life is in a smoker home, I wanted to varnish the models to give them some protection. TLDR? What the hell is TLDR? I don't know. Can I varnish EC with satin varnish without losing all that metallic silver and gold shine? Best regards, Christopher from Germany. Well, okay. With a satin varnish, you shouldn't lose too much. Protecting your models with your varnishes, you don't have to lay a very heavy layer down. Now, if you are laying it out with an airbrush, it's fairly straightforward. You can kind of see the surface get a little bit wet as you work your way around. When you are laying it by paintbrush, then again, should be able to just do it in a single stroke. But of course, you might want to thin it down just a bit so that you can actually, so you can eliminate the varnish brush strokes, because sometimes the varnish will leave brush strokes on your model surface, right? So, again, what is it? TLDR? Too long, didn't read? Oh. Anyway, okay. So, yeah. Satin varnish, it won't kill too much of the metallic shine. Matte will mostly kill a lot of metallic luster. And of course, gloss will preserve it the best, but it'll actually enhance, the luster of metallics as well. But a satin, should do you just fine. Again, just don't lay it on too heavily. If you're applying it by brush, I definitely would recommend thinning it down just a little bit and alternating your brush strokes. So if you're going this way up and down on the model, then your next layer will go left and right. Allow that one layer to dry and then do another little layer real quick. And, that way you don't have brush strokes on the model. If you're doing it by airbrush, again, you're laying it down just so you can see it, just getting the surface just a little bit wet, and then you just keep going and just work your way around. You don't want to build it up too heavily, because again, varnish it doesn't have to be like, a shell on the model. It's just a simple little layer, and it protects the model. So, thank you, Christopher from Germany, for sending that in. Hopefully that helps. Comments, Wargan, use lube or your tip gets dry. Again, context. Despite you, this is the one where Kris literally has a bottle of lube in the frame. It's airbrush lube, but still, it's lube. Yes, I told you, it's lube. This is lube. This is lube. Anybody? Airbrush, lube. There you go. This is Badger's Redab, Reg Dab. Basically, all you do is just throw a little bit anything on the needle, and then like when you pull the needle, and just coat the needle, put it back in the brush. It should be fine. Another one that I've heard a lot of people use, and I've only ever used it for the spring section, just keep the spring section on my airbrush really loose, is WD-40. Using WD-40 as the lube. And I really don't see that lasting that long, because most lubes, I mean, like, you know, they take a while to dry, versus, you know, WD-40, which is it's for breaking down the surface tension in water. Like what the hell is it? WD, water dissolve. Is that what it is? Dissolves in water. So, yeah, I don't know. But I mean, it works great in the springs, because I mean, like, you know, like my Badger, the spring was feeling a little sticky, and so I took it apart, had a look. There was like a little bit of paint kind of on the spring. I don't know how it got there, and cleaned it off, hit it with some WD-40, and the whole thing just purrs like a kitten now. So, yeah. But I've heard of using WD-40 as a lube for your needle and everything like that. So. Because, I mean, everybody's pretty much got WD-40 around their house. Barfing sheep. The collective age of monkeys just dropped massively. Yeah, I know. Sometimes it seems like, you know, we're up here. It's like an intellectual discussion, and then it literally jumps down to people flinging poo at each other. Why that is. Water displacement. There it is. Thank you, Clumsy. Water displacement. WD. Water displacement. David Taylor, Kris, what is the weight of the brush monitor used for? In every video, like Sit and Talk, it's always like the fire. And what do you normally use it for? It's a Mac. It's my Mac. And, of course, Kris is playing in the background. But, yeah, no, it's my Mac. See? Facebook. Emails, you know, also all my programs. See, I got like my 3D program here, iTunes, Final Cut, Motion, Pixelmator. This is where I do like thumbnails and stuff like that, you know. Yeah, I just use it as a backdrop, like a backdrop piece, you know, because it's a nice big display. It's about a 27-inch display, and it looks kind of nice, right? And so there you go. But actually, this is my work computer. This is where I do like most of my video editing and things like that. I do it off this computer, and this computer is the Way of the Brush computer and video game console, apparently. Yeah. So to answer your question, David, yeah, it's my work computer. To believe it or not, it actually gets a rest on the weekend. I don't have to work it too hard. Nicholas Allen, I think if I ever did an Eldar Wraith army, I'd use the old rules for D-size. No, use the new rules. Unless they go back to the old rules. Maybe, I don't know. Or the old rules for D-size. Or the old rules, no, they were strength 10s. Yeah, sorry, they're strength 10s, not destroyer. I was thinking that they were destroyer, and then they changed the destroyer table, but no. Yeah, they had a strength 10 and everything. It still works out to be pretty much, I think, the same outcomes. Strength 10 and strength D. I can't remember. Somebody did a comparison of, like, you know, how the damage to vehicles, damage to troops, stuff like that. And strength 10 and strength D, they're very comparable to each other. It really wasn't that big a difference between the two. So, yeah. Mad Cow Crazy, isn't WD-40 whale oil or fish oil or something? I don't know. Is it? I'm not sure what it's made from. I don't eat it, so I really don't care what it's made from. It's not toxic, as far as I know, but you shouldn't eat it. Mad Cow Crazy, it's a Mac. All you can use it for is to look at it. Work computer? Yeah, exactly. And, man, this gets the job done. This Windows PC crashes all the time. All the time. And our video editor who uses the Windows machine, it crashes all the time. And things get buggy and weird. This, I get the job done. It's done. Simple as that. Why? Because, you're not constantly updating the thing. Whereas, there's so many, like Adobe is like one of those things. Adobe always wants to update all the time. Windows updates all the time. And it's annoying as hell. Mac, not so much. Now, is it because Mac's not as popular and there's not as many viruses out for it? Sure. Why not? Doesn't matter, because I'm still getting my work done. So I really don't care. Mac, the one biggest thing about Mac, like as far as security is concerned, is because Windows Explorer is the biggest vulnerability on Windows, is Windows Explorer. And Windows Explorer is part of the browser. The browser is part of the Windows Explorer, which is part of the operating system, which is why it's always such a vulnerability for Windows, because the two things are integral. Whereas Mac, it's not. The browser is not part of the operating shell, and again, it's just a much more stable platform to work from than Windows. Yeah, David Taylor, do you enjoy video editing and stuff? 3D artists hate the windows that get unstable after you hit a threshold. Yeah, exactly. Whereas with Macs, I mean, if you want to get work done, get a Mac. If you seriously want to get work done, video processing, things like that, get a Mac. Yeah, you pay a premium on the hardware, but the software and stuff like that is cheaper. Like doesn't cost the same as on Mac. And a lot of things that you can get on Windows, you can get on Mac. The only thing you're not doing on a Mac is video gaming, but that's not what it's made for. It's not a video game machine. It's not made for video games. So, that's the only downfall. Windows, you are constantly buying new hardware to keep up with all the latest video games. Constantly buying new hardware for video games. Mac, don't have to worry about that because you're not playing games anyway. So you don't have to worry about it. What time we at? 18 minutes left of the show. Lube for lube. We're still going on about lube, guys? Really? Really? Ghost Starman Deluxe. Episode 116. The Lube Connoisseur. The Lube Connoisseur. I kind of like that. Swiss Toby. Hey, Chris. I would so much appreciate if you could just have a quick look at my question on the Barbie Slanish Marine problem I posted a little above. Oh, man. I got to go looking for this now. Swiss Toby. Swiss Toby. I don't see anything from Swiss Toby. I'm looking. I see nothing. Oh, now I see something. Hey, Chris, I was wondering how you'd suggest to paint pink purple Slanish Marines, ex-Emperor's Children, without them having look like Barbies. Paint them pink and purple Slanish Marines. Like make them look like Emperor's Children, but without them looking like Barbies. Well, I'm not sure what you mean by Barbies, other than being pink, being very soft and pink. I mean, see, Quirk was able to get his work done. Look at that, Land Raider, lots of pew pew. You can start off with the pink in, say, for example, you start off with something like along the lines of Screamer Pink, which is kind of a magenta, kind of purpley kind of pink color, and start off with that as your base. And edge in what is it, horror pink? What's the real pink color for pink horror? Yeah, pink horror. And edge highlight. There's a dry as well. That, yeah, and yeah, and you can go about it that way, and that won't give you a Barbie kind of feel. I'm not sure what the Barbie kind of feeling means. other than maybe feeling like a toy. But because I mean, like if you started off with Emperor's or Pink Horror as your base color, the really bright pink as your base, and built up, then yeah, you get this really kind of vibrant kind of pink, especially if you build it up to a white along its edges. But again, that would give you that kind of eyesore kind of look that Slaanesh Noise Marines really, were about. I mean, like, look at Noise Marines painted from back in the day, and I mean, like, they're all really loud paint jobs, and that's what it was all about, was the really loud kind of color schemes, because it was supposed to be like an assault to the senses kind of thing. So making something look really, really, pink, like Pink Horror, like right out of the bottom, make that and as your model, I don't think it's a bad thing. I think it would be a good thing to make it look that way, because again, people are going to go, wow, look how bright that is. And or even get some fluorescent colors. My God, get some fluorescent colors. You're blind people. You have to get your models registered as weapons. But yeah, so hopefully that kind of helps. Yeah, I'm not entirely sure what you meant by Barbie pink. I mean, other than looking like a plastic toy or just looking like pink. Yeah, I mean, Dave Taylor's got it right there. You should just embrace the Barbie. Embrace the Barbie, man. Just embrace the Barbie and color your Marines pink. Lazy Monkey. Noise Marines and Goth Rockers. Those were the days. Yeah, exactly. My brother-in-law, he still has my old Noise Marines. With the guitars and everything like that. And each one of them is painted. And they got like leopard patterns and diamonds and just completely absurd. Look up those Noise Marines if you're not sure what I'm talking about. Who was it now? Crap. Anyway, yeah, Noise Marines. Just research up and you'll see that like there are some really loud kind of outfits on them, color schemes. Barfing Sheep. Did Goth Rockers have stats? You know what? I'm not even sure. Because, I mean, Noise Marines had stats, but, they were just regular Battlefield dudes. Goth Rockers, though, I don't know if they had stats. Because there wasn't a drum set. They had a drummer, but there was no drum set. And the singer had the guitar. And I thought there was another one. There was 3. And they all looked like they were wearing like leather. It's kind of basically like Orky Judas Priest kind of thing. Yeah. So let's do another email, because what time we at? Holy crap, we got 12 minutes left of the show. Holy crap. Swiss Toby. Yeah, that was it. Swiss Toby. I was asking about the pink. Okay, that helps. Perfect. Thanks. I'll go for the Slaanesh Barbie then. Yeah, just embrace the Barbie, man. Just embrace it, man. Embrace it. Because I mean, like, Slaanesh, they're all about all sorts of weirdness, and just embrace the weirdness. I mean, if you're gonna go Slaanesh, embrace it. I mean, like, nobody goes Nurgle and says, you know what, I really don't want to do any kind of pus or pimples or any ooze or anything like that. I really don't want that. It's like, no. You gotta, if you're going Nurgle, you're going pustules and broken sores and, all this kind of sick stuff. I mean, the guy's got throw up on his base and, just disgusting kind of crap, right? Because nobody goes with corn and goes, you know what, I really don't want any blood. I don't want any gore. I don't want any organs or anything like that hanging off my guy. No. You're going corn. You're going with, guts and blood all over the place and, stuff like that. Like, embrace the god that you're going with. I mean, that's what it's all about. Zinch, I don't know. Embrace your inner wizard, I guess. I don't know. Embrace your Harry Potter. Let's do an email. This is from Lord Law. Hey Chris, I joined up Mini Wargaming about a month or so ago and became a Vault member. I support what I like, and I'm enjoying Mini Wargaming so far. I watched your Way of the Brush episode 11. I think on your entry into 40K, my story was very similar, minus the Space Hulk. I saw the Rogue Trader rulebook in my local store when I was 13 years old, 1989. LOL. Lol. I just got back into last year at this time. Falling in love again. I dusted off my Space Elves and started over. LOL. You talked about wishing you had your first models. I have mine. They are painted in testers. Lol. I just finished my old Hammer Dragons, adding some picks. Put my old Testers 89 version left, as well as my 92 version middle, as alongside my finished unit right. Took the pics with my phone. Sorry about the focus problem. Not great. LOL. Let me know what you think. Thanks for being you and what you guys do there, and pass it on, Lord Law. And so here are his picatures. And yeah, the focus isn't the best. I like the color grading going on here, though. That's pretty awesome. I mean, if he was doing that right in the early days, I mean, man, imagine what you'd be like when you're painting now. If you'd have kept up. And yeah, I like the scale pattern on the helmet. That's cool. That's very cool. I like the retro fire dragons too. And see, the retro fire dragons, they just look so cool. Like, remember, for a long time we had these sculpts with fire dragons, and then they resculpted them, and they had like sharper edges and cleaner lines and stuff like that, and they looked like crap. And so what they do? They went right back to the old Just Goodwin design and redesigned them. Thank God. And like, a credit to like Just Goodwin. I mean, like, he really nailed it on the head with the Eldar line. Like these old sculpts still hold up today. Like, these are just really great looking. I love this transition he's got going on these. It's really good. Oh, okay. Here's his originals. I was gonna say, man. I was gonna say, because he wasn't painted like that back in '89, was he? Okay, so here's his testers model, and then here's his comeback and acrylics and stuff like that, and then here's how he's painting now. And this makes sense, right? This all makes sense. Testers, back in the day, now, very good. Lord Law is quite the painter. Great transitions going on here. I love that. I love that he did the textures on the helmet. Really awesome stuff. Can we get a close up of this? I want to get a detailed shot of this. Not quite. Yeah, you can see how the paint's kind of building up in the corners, the crevices, things like that. Whereas here you can see here he was dry brushing more, and then here he's layering more. He's building up those color transitions more, and yeah, so really good stuff. Really good. Very cool. And so yeah, that was Lord Law's email showing off how he used to paint and how he currently paints. And so thank you, Lawrence, for sending that. Lawrence for sending that in. And so, where are we in the comments? More beer for the beer god. You know, I couldn't agree with that more. More beer for the beer god.
Snacks for the snack throne.
Snacks for the snack throne? Snacks for the snack. You can't say that fast. Say it 10 times fast. You say the wrong thing.
No.
Episode 116, embracing your inner Harry Potter. Ronnie Sugden, there he is. The fire dragons have my dragon getting fiery. What? The fire dragons have my dragon getting fiery. What? Yogi KK, Mr. Kris, any tips on creating a freezing effect on a black Space Marine armor? Like the Marine is standing in the snow, but the armor is not covered in snow, just frozen. Kind of like he was in the freezer and he's got like that crystalline hoar frost kind of just gathering all over the place. You know what I mean? Like it's not like snow settling on the top surface, but it's like that spiky frost coming out from everywhere. I'm not sure how you could convincingly pull that off, because it would mostly have to be done within the paint itself. I think you'd have to paint that effect on the discoloration that you would see, you would observe from a model that was covered in frost, because duplicating that kind of texture on the model Because taking, like, say for example, taking like the snow flock and applying it to the model would not achieve what you might be thinking. Now, mind you, there are a few snow products out there, even like, for example, like baking soda. If you gave the model a light dusting of it, you know, I mean, like you painted most of that effect onto the model so it looked kind of frosted. At the corners, there was more frost gathering there, and then gave it the slight texturing of it. But I mean, that's a lot of work to do for one Marine. And if you wanted your whole army to look this way, that's a lot of work. And I mean, like, getting the effect down, I mean, convincingly, can be kind of tricky. I know there's other snow products out there where they can create, you know, like they can help you create a more of a frosty kind of look, but nothing out there that I've seen that gives you that frost. That I think it's called hoarfrost. I think that's what that effect is called. Where not like horror, but I mean it's HOR, and basically it's like, you know, if you've ever seen the movie like Day After Tomorrow, right? Where, you know, everybody gets flash frozen, and so everybody's got this, you know, icy kind of look to them, right? And so again, that's done within the colors of the paint, and not so much, you know, the a texture on the model. Again, you can probably extend some points and maybe make look icicles to help sell the effect, but otherwise, permafrost, is that what that is? Permafrost, Tyler Bortel. I thought it had another name. I thought it had like hoarfrost. I thought that was what that was called. Or maybe that's where I read somewhere. I don't know. I can't think of it. I'm getting a headache. Too much thinking. I mean, you guys can't smell it, but my office smells like wood fire. It smells like wires short circuiting. It's just all the thinking. Yeah, so it's hoarfrost. Yeah, HOR frost. Yeah, that's what I thought. I wasn't cracking up. It's not like horror, like H or a WH. Anyway. Hey, Kris, what are your thoughts on Baby Metal? Baby Metal, I mean, I've only heard a couple songs from them. Not really my deal. It's just a little too much. Same with heavy metal bands that have very high pitched kind of lead singers. I don't really go for a lot of those. Where you got that real kind of contrast between the really deep bass tones and then the singers like, you know what I mean? I mean, for heavy metal, I'm not talking like, you know, rock or anything like that. Rock, I mean like AC/DC and, you know, Guns N' Roses. They have that kind of contrast. But heavy metal, no, I don't know. I just have a hard time getting into it. Plus, too, it feels a little pervy. And I'll be honest. It feels a little pervy. I mean, you know, you have these guys who look like Slipknot playing guitar in the background, and then you have these little girls in the front that look like little schoolgirls. They're wearing like, you know, the little skirts and the little cardigans, and, you know what I mean, like what? Yeah. You know, so yeah, it feels pervy. Yeah. Ben Osick. Maybe just spray a thin layer of white and an airbrush over parts of the model. Yeah, see, I don't know. I mean, it'd have to be something I would have to play with to try and get the look down. But again, I think I'd have more luck doing it to say something like a tank, right? And doing a diorama, because the environment also has to sell it, right? Because so the base of the model, again, you know, you have the base of the model and you have the model, you know, is that enough room to sell that effect? Whereas a diorama where you can have the entire environment and you had the Land Raider tank and it had like this frost over it and it had like, you know, icicles kind of dripping down at some points and, you know what I mean, things like that, right? And then you had this guy kind of crawling out and he looked like he was frozen stiff and things like that really kind of to sell the idea, you know. rather than just doing a squad of Marines that look like they're frozen. See, like again, I don't know if he wants to do them as a squad of Marines or if he wants to do it as a diorama. I don't know. He's not saying. Spike you, Kris. How about Fear Factory? I love Fear Factory. And the last album was actually really, really good. I enjoyed that one. Was it Genesis? Neo Genesis? No. What the hell's the new album called? Something Genesis. I want to say Neo Genesis, but anyway. Yeah, the new album is really good. It's actually more like, for me, it sounds more like remanufacture than like obsolete or anything like that. So, no, it was good. I enjoyed the new, and I mean Fear Factory, even the other stuff that people were like poo-pooing them on, I still like their stuff. It was still good. Where am I? What time is it? Holy crap! It's after 2. Jeez, we're done. We're done. I miss Lord of Midgets. I miss Lord of Midgets too. We miss his comments and his witty repartee. Leo Shi, the Oryx new releases are just too good in my opinion. Wow. Leo, you are all about the Oryx today, aren't you? And I agree. I like them. That big dragon duder thing is awesome. I mean, like with all these really great sculpts that Age of Sigmar has been getting, like I want to see some of that stuff trickle down into 40K and stuff because, fantasy. I mean, like the Age of Sigmar stuff. Like everybody in fantasy was all floating, right? Every Nagash, all the Tomb King stuff, the Celestial Lord Duder for Stormcast Collar, whatever the hell they're called. Everybody's floating, and I want some floatiness in 40K too. I think a plastic Satan model would be cool. Wouldn't that be cool? A Nightbringer in plastic, the same size as say Nagash. Wouldn't that be effing awesome? That'd be awesome. I think that would be awesome. In fact, we should all write Games Workshop right now. We all want a plastic Nightbringer that's like Nagash, where he's just floating and he's got his big thing and he's just scary as hell. And enough room in his chest so that we can actually put LED lights in him and make his head light up and have a smoke machine in his butt. And, he's spewing out smoke and he's got green lights and he's raw and he's... maybe I went too far there. If you have any questions, comments, you want some critiques on your work, you want some help on a color scheme, send it to Kris@miniwargaming.com. It's in the description below. Join us on Facebook, Way of the Brush. You want to keep conversations going there. Plus, I post pictures of what kind of stuff I'm working on as well. At least that's where it's kind of been posting it rather than my regular kind of Facebook page. And usually I post whatever, whatever's going on the Way of the Brush page as well. Also, announcements if I'm, canceling a show or whatever. It shows up there usually. Way of the Brush t-shirts. Again, you want to look like a connoisseur of, everything that's good and right and wholesome in this world. A Way of the Brush t-shirt is definitely the way to go. Show people that you are an intellectual, and of course, judging by all the intelligence that just floats around in these comments here, you should all be wearing your t-shirts when you're here. It's kind of like the Mickey Mouse show. Everybody puts on their Mickey Mouse hat. Way of the Brush, everybody slaps on the Way of the Brush shirt. And begins flinging poo at their monitors. There will not be a Way of the Brush, I believe, next weekend, the 30th, because I'm going to go pick up my son from college. So there'll be no Way of the Brush next weekend. But again, I'll leave an announcement at some point in the week because, I'll probably forget anyway. But yeah, so just to drop that right at the end of the show, no Way of the Brush next weekend because, I'm going to go get my boy. And so take care of your brushes. They'll take care of you. And I will see you guys in the next exciting episode of Way of the Brush, episode 117, where we have no idea what the name of the show will be because, again, I leave that up to you guys because it's a lot more fun that way. And it saves me from thinking. Again, save on the smoke and the air pollution. And I don't know, I'm jabbering on. Let's get out of here. Let's go enjoy the rest of the Saturday.